And now I'd like to introduce our speaker, Angie Gordon.
Good afternoon. I'm going to be talking about faith today. And when one thinks of faith, what comes to mind? Just anyone. Peace.
Trust. Kindness.
Believe. Anything else?
Connection.
For me, faith is a solid knowingness inside of me. I wasn't raised a specific religion. My mother was metaphysician, or is, and my dad, he's been raised Methodist, but he never practiced. And so I kind of grew up, I never really went to chapels or, churches or anything until my auntie had moved into town, and she was metaphysician. And so that's how I was able to travel about. And my mother was not necessarily the type of person that liked to go to chapels or churches, and so that's my experience with that. But at 9 years old, I had reached a very pivotal point in my life, and I was really angry. I had the parents that I have. We all want to pick our parents, don't we? My father has been an alcoholic my entire life, basically. And so there was a point in my life that I was so filled up with anger because of just trying to live that life and kind of be normal, so to speak. And it was very difficult. And I was so upset with the whole family. I only have three of them, the two parents and my brother. And I was thinking to myself, no, this is a mistake. Who are these people? They're definitely not. I didn't pick these people. And I remember going into my room, and I was just so upset. And I didn't know anything about faith. I didn't know anything about praying, or I just heard it all, but I didn't experience any of this. And so I went in my room and opened up the blinds and looked out the window, and I got in my prayer position and was just crying and looking out the window and looking up to the sky and saying, God, why? Why am I here? I'm sure people have probably had that experience of, what is this all about? Why do I have to experience this? And I sat there and I had tears coming out, and I went through my whole spiel, and there wasn't an answer. However, everything switched. It was like, when the music shuts off and it gets really quiet, and then all of a sudden it was like a dimensional shift. It was a change. And I knew that God was there. And it wasn't just God, it was Mother, Father, God. It was a female presence as well as a male presence. And I also experienced angels. When I went through this, it was such a profound experience that I just knew this was real. And there was nothing that was going to change that. It was very profound. God said to me that, let me get back to my notes so I can remember all of this, but they reassured me that this life was planned for a very special reason. And I was told that I would be helping others. And I was also told that when I ended up in my 40s, that I would have a specific thing in my life that I'm here for. And I remember feeling this, I have to wait that long. I'm only 9, what? No, and I was emotional. I remember the emotion. But it was so profound that I went on with it, and God said to have faith, and I didn't quite grasp what that meant, but I knew from that point forward I had it. Okay, but what did it mean really, you know? So once it started to dissipate, the feeling and everything, and those tears were gone as soon as I started experiencing it. It was kind of like, what's going on here? I became really overwhelmed and relieved. You know, the feeling was like, I can do this, you know, and yes, there's been so many situations in my life that were very difficult, and still are, because I still, you know, experience with my family the same things. And now it's just things have really changed for me from that pivotal point. I, you know, feel like the glass is always half full, not half empty. You know, I help people when they're in struggling times. You know, anybody talks about their lives being, you know, not worthy and things like that. I'm just like, you know, I feel like faith has something to do with that. I really do. I feel like if I didn't have that feeling, then maybe I wouldn't be able to explain how great it is. So, as I said, I continued to have the hard life. The depth and belief and trust in my faith was so strong. So, however, you know, people, they don't always experience this kind of thing, or haven't really been through anything like that to know, you know, what that type of position of shift could be. But there are people that, you know, indeed they've either grown up, you know, with some sort of religion to experience what faith is, or just have it. You know, they grow up with it and they just have it. And so that's why I was asking what, you know, you thought faith might be, because faith is in so many different visions for people. Here are some information as well as metaphysical laws of faith. I'll kind of say them slow because they're kind of deep and kind of touch. Sometimes it doesn't quite absorb as quickly. For one, faith is one of our 12 powers that each person has. We have it posted in our library explaining where those 12 powers are if anyone hasn't taken the classes. It's an amazing class, and when utilized in those specific areas, they all coincide together almost like chakras. And so faith is actually one of them. Faith is located in the center of the brain at the pineal gland. And focusing in the location, saying like a meditation or whatnot, faith quickens spiritual understanding. When one is experiencing things, when one knows that the experience is theirs, it speeds up the knowledge in self to know thyself. Spiritual faith gives assurance and presents immediate response. Turmoil in life is the result of what one sows, and what is sowed is reaped. Trust is a part of faith. Trust leads to knowing, and knowing is faith. Words of faith moves one into action, and nothing shall be impossible. The more trust and belief are experienced, the more faith there is. Knowing that a higher power is in and through one is comfort. The will of God is that you will not suffer, and through I am, one has complete escape of sin, sickness, and death. Sin, sickness, and death are not punishment willed by God. They are the results or consequences of broken law. understanding the laws is involved in change. And the more I grow into change, I know my faith is becoming deeper and my knowingness connects me with God. I hope that with whatever each one of you have experienced in life has brought you to this very point of faith. Once faith is ignited, all things change. You change, I change, and our universe changes. Blessings and namaste.
Thank you, Angie. And now it's time for our love offering.